You ever walk into a room and feel like you just stepped into another world? That's how it was the day Amma walked into her daughter's bedroom. The curtains were closed, the air was heavy, and there she was, Maya, 12 years old, sitting cross-legged on the bed, hair falling over her face, eyes locked on her phone. She didn't even look up. Her mother stood there, heart sinking, wondering, where had my little girl gone? But here is the thing, this didn't start when Maya was 12. No, this story began almost a decade earlier, when she was just 3 years old. Maya's dad, Mr. McTorrell, was an American businessman in his mid-30s. He was a very busy man and was always on the move. He owned 3 huge food companies, which indeed made him a billionaire. Her mom, Mrs. Amma Afram, was from Ghana, the western part of Ghana to be precise. She was in her early 30s and was a powerful lawyer in Accra. They lived together in East Legon, where the houses are big, the gates are tall, and life looks perfect from the outside. But inside, it wasn't as perfect as it looked. Mark was always busy, meetings, phone calls, flights. Amma, on the other hand, was too busy. She had court cases, late night work, and endless deadlines. They loved their daughter, no question, but time was always running away from them. Then one day, when Maya was 3, she had one of those meltdowns every toddler has. You know the type, crying so loud you think the roof might crack. Amma tried toys, she tried snacks, nothing worked. Then, just to get a few quiet minutes, she handed Maya her phone, and the crying stopped just like that. Maya's tiny fingers tapped the screen. Bright colors flashed, cartoon voices filled the room. She giggled, and Amma sighed with relief. Finally, there is peace. At first, it was just for a few minutes, but a few minutes turned into an hour turned into every day. Maya was now used to funny YouTube shorts and TikTok skits. At her age, she was supposed to be a fan of educative and innovative cartoon content. But no, she was rather watching contents that were not made for her. And amazingly, she was hooked to them. Mark and Amber told themselves she's learning things, it keeps her busy. They even got her an iPad. But outside the screen, something else was happening. She stopped asking to go outside. She gradually stopped playing with toys. Even at family gatherings, while cousins laughed and ran around, Maya was always sitting in her corner with her eyes glued to her phone. At 6 years, Maya started primary school. She was in one of the rich schools in the country. She was allowed to send the iPad to school, but it was only for educational purposes. But Maya used hers differently. She mostly downloaded many funny videos and Korean movies she would watch every snack time. While her friends were always playing around, she was at her corner watching and laughing on her phone. She was too glued to her phone that she didn't even have any friend in the school. She was a bright student and her teachers liked her. But then, due to her addiction for phone, it gradually affected her academics. Madam Abby was her class teacher. Soon she noticed Maya was mostly on her phone during breaks. She found her one time sitting alone on one of the lovers' benches on the school compound. As usual, Maya was on her phone. Madam Abby approached her. "Maya, what are you doing here?" Madam Abby asked. Maya didn't respond. She was completely off and detached from her environment. Madam Abby held her shoulder. This is when Maya looked up and noticed Madam Abby was standing in front of her. "I have been seeing you here most often. I thought you were always learning with the phone, but I was wrong. Madam, It's okay, bring the phone. I have seized it and I will only give it to you during class lessons. Madam Abi interrupted Maya when she was about speaking. Maya was not happy at all about this, but she couldn't do anything about it. She just handed over the phone to Madam Abi and went to class, even though break was not over. Madam Abi gave her the phone after a week and told her the next time she seizes the phone, she won't give it back. You might think she is fine now. She will probably not use the phone at all. She developed a new strategy to be on her phone without anyone noticing. She mostly hid in the washrooms and other places Madam Abi wasn't aware. You can tell Maya was addicted to her phone now. She was a victim of nomophobia. When she was home, it is even worse. Her parents leave very early to work and return very late. Sometimes they get to see her before bedtime, but other times they got home when she was asleep. She was always left alone with the housemaid in the house. Maya doesn't even go out from her room when she is home. It was almost as though her daily routines are one way. She does the same thing over and over again. After school, she goes to eat her supper and freshens up. She quickly does her homework and gets back to her phone. She scrolls till she is tired or her battery gets low and she goes to bed. She is mostly seen using the phone even when it was on charge. She didn't even have any friend to talk to. Her only friend was her phone. This way, she rarely read her books. She found YouTube shorts and TikTok skits much more interesting than her books. There are times her mom sees her and complains, but she would act as if she gives regular breaks to her screen time. When her mom sees her with her phone, she just pauses and goes to bed. She did this just to make sure her parents did not suspect she was fond of phone. Maya didn't know she was worrying her own self. At 10, she was hardly performing well in school. Her grades dropped like a rock. She failed 2 of her subjects in the final exams. As for the rest of the subjects, she barely passed. She mostly forgot to do her homeworks and had to rush through the next mornings to do them. Amma seized the phone for some time, but Maya had withdrawal symptoms. Amma was scared, so she just handed the phone to her again. Amma can't blame anyone or blame Maya for being a very strong victim from nomophobia. She was supposed to stop Maya when she was 3. The goal is not to condemn screen time, but then she could have considered the kind of content Maya was into. Also, she could have replaced phone with fun and more playtimes. Even though Maya would cry for the phone, this was the best way to protect her from nomophobia, alias no mobile phone phobia. In other words, nomophobia is a term to describe the fear of not using a mobile phone. By 12, it was very bad. Her parents, especially Amma, had to fight her to study and also to eat. Her father scheduled her times with a phone and also downloaded more educative videos for her. This worked for a few weeks, but then things went back the way they were again. She mostly locked her room and barely ate. If her phone was taken away, Maya would cry and panic for hours. And that night, the night Amma walked into her room, she saw Maya on the bed and busy with her phone. "Maya," Amma whispered, "are you okay?" Nothing. She didn't even look up. Just the quiet sound of a video playing. That's when her mother's heart broke. This was too bad, and they knew the only option was to take her to the hospital. The next day, they took her to a child psychologist. The doctor interviewed Maya. They had hours of talking with questions and tests. Finally, the doctor called her parents to talk to them after the interview. She has severe nomophobia, phone addiction, If you don't act now, her future will be at risk. And that is when they realized this wasn't just a bad habit. This was an illness, a silent one that had been growing for years. The plan was tough, but they had to implement it to help their daughter. The first step was to allow her only 2 hours of phone time a day. This was mostly done after school. Her auntie was now living with them to ensure these rules were effective until she got better. As for school, she was only allowed to use phone during class lessons. Maya was not happy at all. She fought it with all her might. She mostly cried when Auntie Rose took her phone and gave her books to read. It was as if Auntie Rose was mean to Maya, but it was all for her good. Soon she even refused to join in on family fun times. She just wanted her phone. But Mark and Amma stayed strong. They replaced screen time with painting, swimming, and board games. Even meal times became phone-free zones. At first, Maya didn't cooperate, but when she got to understand that her parents are still being strict on their rules, she gave up. Although it was difficult to sink into social life, she started something. Gradually, she began to like the company of her parents. She enjoyed the swimming and all the other plays. Her therapist taught her how to handle boredom, panic, and sadness without the phone. It wasn't quick, it wasn't easy, but after a year, she was different. She completely changed. She became an intelligent student once again, and she was living a happy and peaceful life. She started making some cool friends and was mostly playing with them. You can tell she was better now. She was free from nomophobia. This is the right way to help our children, no matter the difficult it becomes. We should be firm in ensuring that our children do not develop chronic nomophobia disease. Our kids are our future. Maya's story isn't rare. This is not just a folktale, but a story to raise an awareness on this silent killer disease, nomophobia. People actually ignore or forget about this, but it is a sickness now. And most people, especially children, are victims. But here is the truth. It starts small and then it grows. And by the time you notice the damage, it might have been too late. Phones aren't evil, but they can steal a childhood if you let them. You need to know how to structure screen time hours for your kids and yourselves as well. Filling your child's world with play, more books, and more real interactions is what helps to bring down nomophobia. Don't wait until it is too late. Protect your children from nomophobia before the screen becomes their whole world.